In this tip, we're going to be talking about the use of abbreviations in your search. So let's look at some examples about how you can get more search results by using abbreviations. If you're doing a address search, for example, say somebody lived on 123 Elm Street, sometimes the word street, the whole word S-T-R-E-E-T, might have been in the newspaper. On the other hand, it might have been an abbreviation, as in ST period. So whether it's avenue, street, boulevard, way, or lane, you need to not only search for the whole word, as in avenue, A-V-E-N-U-E, but also search for A-V-E period. And the same is true for the other names of street types. So take that into consideration. Always search for both of them, because you don't know how the original author or the typesetter would have put those particular strings of letters in the newspaper. Okay? So that's street names. Same is true for cities. There are common abbreviations for cities. For example, NYC for New York City, or Philly for Philadelphia. There may be other abbreviations or local abbreviations that people 1,000 miles away are not even familiar with that are used. So try using the abbreviation as well as the full name of the city. Okay? Same is true for business names. It could be a company, it could be incorporated, it could be limited. So use the whole word company and CO period for the end of the name. Same is true for incorporated businesses, etc. So try both of those. This is the one that's going to yield the biggest amount of additional search results for you. Over here on the right, you can see a clipping, and it has 1, 2, 3, 4, about 12 entries for a person's name, and it looks like probably a real estate transaction. So it has the lot number and block number for that particular piece of real estate. But if you notice, even on the first one, Janko, comma, J-N-O. Well, J-N-O is not a given name that I'm familiar with, but it in fact is an abbreviation for John, J-O-H-N. So if you're looking for John somebody, you would look for John, in this case, John Janko, or J-N-O Janko. Let's go through the list a little bit more. Go down to see. You've got initials, W-J Charapar. Make sure to put their initials in as an alternative search. E.D.W. Bunger. Well, E.D.W. is shorthand for Edward. The next one yields another one. Chaz Forsyth. In fact, there's 2 entries there. Chaz is an abbreviation for Charles. And down at the bottom is the last one. That's W.M. for William. So, especially with older newspapers, abbreviations of given names were often used. In fact, more than likely, you would see the abbreviation more so than you would see the full name. So over here on the list is some examples. G-E-O for George, J-O-S for Joseph, R-O-B-T for Robert, E-L-I-Z for Elizabeth. And also, you might try initials as well. So this is a big one. This is one that you definitely need to make use of, because it's going to yield more search results for you. Not that more search results are exactly what you're going for, but the type of article or the information in an article may not be under their full given name. It may be under one of these abbreviations. So you're definitely going to want to make use of these abbreviations for given names. This is a big one. Mrs. Prior to the 1960s and 70s, married women were not in the newspaper under their names. So Mildred Smith, for example, who was married to Robert Smith, she would be identified as Mrs. Robert Smith rather than Mildred Smith. Now, obviously that's changed since the 1970s. Married women were known and printed in the newspaper as their full given name and their last name, whether or not they took their husband's name or not when they got married. So, but prior to the 60s and 70s, you almost always saw it, MRS, Mrs., the name of the husband, and the first name of the husband and last name of the husband. So you're going to want to take advantage of that little bit of knowledge. Obviously, if it was a child, for example, Mildred Jones, who later married Robert Smith, Mildred Jones would show up and say in a graduation list or some athletic event as Mildred Jones. And if Mildred Jones never got married, she obviously would be Mildred Jones forever in the newspaper. So make sure you take that into consideration, because I've seen a lot of people that would look for Mildred Smith and they would never find anything, couldn't believe that she wouldn't be in the newspaper. But the fact of the matter is, she would be under Mrs. Robert Smith. Now, obituaries are a little different because they do indeed use the given name of the wife. Okay? So that's Mrs. Another example is the military. Over here on the right, you got a list of the 55th Regiment. As you can see, there are abbreviations for the title of the person. And you see SGT for sergeant, CORP for corporate, VBT for private, LT for lieutenant, etc., etc. There's captain and corporal again, and lieutenant again. So the abbreviations for captain, colonel, sergeant are used a lot of times in the newspaper in abbreviated form rather than the full word. Okay, the next one is state names. We didn't always have two-letter abbreviations. So, for example, CA for California, IA for Iowa, NY for New York, etc. I don't exactly know when we started to have two-letter abbreviations, but that's no matter here. In the old days, we had, here's some examples: CALIF period for California, MASS for Massachusetts, FLA for Florida, etc. MINN for Minnesota. So we had more than two letters, but those were commonly used abbreviations for the names of states, and so you're going to want to anticipate that as you're looking for events or locations or whatever. When you include the name of a state, consider using the abbreviation, the old abbreviation that is, for the whole name of the state. So search for the whole name and search for the abbreviation. So in summary, the bottom line is here, abbreviations were used a lot in old newspapers, again, to save space. So you're going to want to take advantage of knowing that fact and search not just for whole words, but also for abbreviations. If you do so, you will end up with more targeted search results and articles that you are interested in reviewing. Okay? That's it for abbreviations. Thank you.